dolor y sorpresa. Our next speaker, Tanto Toi, a survivor of a Japanese concentration camp here in the United States, knows what it's like to be targeted by the US government because of her race. Tanto, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for having me.
I'm here today to speak for the 120,000 Japanese people that were taken and incarcerated in 1942. I was born in 1941 in Los Angeles, California. My mother was a citizen born in California. My father was an alien born in Japan. A Supreme Court decision said because he was a Japanese alien, he could not become a citizen. He could not own land. He could not marry anyone outside his race. On February 19, 1942, FDR, President of the United States, with a swipe of his pen, signed Executive Order 9066. For 120,000 Japanese Americans, our lives were forever changed. All Japanese who lived in Oregon, Washington, and the state of California were to report to an assembly center in 2 weeks. They said, bring only what you can carry. You had 2 weeks or less to sell your possessions or leave it. 120,000 people of Japanese descent were incarcerated. 75,000 were American citizens. The executive order said, if you have 1/16 Japanese blood, you went to the camps. They took children, babies from orphanages to the camps. The FBI came quickly, and they took teachers and the leaders of the community to special federal camps, separated from their families, no one knowing where they were. Their crime, they were important in the Japanese community. May 1942, I was 6 months old. We were incarcerated in our first camp in Santa Anita, California. People still slept in horse stalls that smelled of manure. August 1942, my husband's mother died giving birth to a child at Santa Anita racetrack. She bled to death. They could not save her. It was only a first aid station. My husband was 6 years old. The government quickly built 10 camps in remote areas of the United States to hold 120,000 Japanese Americans. In October, my family and I went by train from Santa Anita, California to one of the camps. 5 days and nights later, we arrived in Arkansas. How my mother managed the journey, I cannot imagine. I was 10 months old, diapers, feeding me, sitting upright in an unair-conditioned car, no bath for 5 days. Mother said when we went through a community, the soldiers pulled the shades down so no one could see who was on the train. There were 8,000 people living in Roar Camp in Arkansas. It was the largest community in Arkansas. A moratorium said we could not return to our homes on the West Coast until after the war ended in 1945. We were imprisoned for 4 years. Latin American countries sent 2,000 citizens to the U.S. to be held as hostages in Crystal City, Texas. They were not allowed to return to their countries after the war ended. People have said, I've never heard what happened to the Japanese in America. How could they move 120,000 people to 10 camps in the United States and no one knew? Few people spoke for us, and so we went because the president said go, taking only what we could carry. They closed the 10 camps after the war, but now they've built new ones. People living in filth, children separated from their families. Today, we are here to speak for those who need our voices, our help. Today, I say, never again. Today, I will not be complacent. I will say, when people are suffering and need my help, I will be there for you, as you are for them. Thank you.